Hello, welcome to Muckman Movies. It's that time again where I take up one of those community challenges on YouTube. I saw Stuart George take up the challenge by someone called Sammy G's World of Cinema. I was unaware of this guy's channel, but he's set the challenge of choosing 5 double bills of movies. So pairing up a couple of films to create a great evening of film watching. So without further ado, I'll get on to my top 5. Well, not top 5, but these are 5 that sprang to mind straight away. I'll get on to my top 5 straight after this. So without further ado, at number 5, these aren't in any particular order. These are just 5 pairings that I thought would make a fantastic double bill on one evening, maybe a Saturday night with a few beers. Especially this first pairing anyway. So what we've got 2 sci-fi comedies where our drunken heroes have got to fight off like an alien foe, if you like, and that is Edgar Wright's The World's End and Grabbers, an Irish sci-fi comedy. Both of these films, you've got a drunken protagonist who's absolutely inebriated up to his eyeballs, trying to fight off some aliens. Both great films. Personally, I prefer Grabbers. It's an underrated film that probably goes under the radar for many people. This isn't Edgar Wright's finest moment, but I still find it fun. There's plenty of good moments in it. So my first pairing is The World's End and Grabbers, 2 drunken sci-fi comedies that revolve around pubs. So next up, you've got 2 very similar themed crime thrillers set in the crime-infested underworld of Chicago and the other ones in St. Louis. You've got a group of protagonists, one on the way to a boxing match, and the other a pair of firefighters who stumble across a map that indicates where some buried gold is hidden. So you've got basically Stephen Hopkins' Judgment Night and Walter Hill's Trespass. Both excellent thrillers. Trespass is probably my favourite out of the 2. But yeah, in Judgment Night you've got Dennis Leary who commits a murder, and Emilio Estevez and his friends witness the murder, and Dennis Leary tries to hunt them down and take them out before they report the murder to the police. And then you've got Trespass, where Bill Paxton, the great late Bill Paxton, and William Sadler, they're 2 firefighters who stumble across this map with indicating where some hidden gold is. They stumble across Ice Cube and Ice-T. And basically, it's a cat and mouse game of survival within the derelict buildings of St. Louis. Both great thrillers. Trespass, like I say, is probably my favourite out of the 2, but I recommend them both, especially as a double bill. Very similar themed. Trespass and Judgment Night. So next up, I've got 2 films where the narrative revolves around the same day being repeated over and over again. Our protagonists are caught in a bit of a time warp. The first film is Harold Ramis's Groundhog Day, and the second film is Doug Liman's Edge of Tomorrow. Both films we see our protagonists. So Bill Murray's Phil Connors, the weatherman, he just keeps repeating the same day over and over again. He's trying to break the cycle by changing his daily habits, but he just can't seem to break the habit. Not the habit, break the cycle. And then you've got Tom Cruise as a lieutenant or an officer who ends up getting caught up in an alien warfare and repeating the same day over and over again. So you've got two films there, totally different. One's a sci-fi, one's a romantic comedy, very funny. Got two totally different films using the same similar premise of repeating the same day over and over again. Those two would make an absolute fantastic Saturday night double bill. Edge of Tomorrow, Groundhog Day. So down at my number 2 spot for pairings of great movies is Southern Comfort and Deliverance, both set in the hostile backwaters of the deep south of America. We've got protagonists who are fighting for their lives against the locals. Southern Comfort, you've got some almost like, I think the National Guard, but we'd call them the Territorial Army. One of the guys pulls off a practical stunt which goes wrong, and their captain ends up getting shot in the process, and they're out of their depth in the swamplands of Louisiana. And then you've got Deliverance, John Borman's Deliverance. You've got some friends who go down the river in their canoe and get caught up with some basically rednecks who commit an absolute horrendous crime against Ned Beatty's character. Both very similar themed, really dark films, but immensely captivating at the same time. So you've got there Southern Comfort and Deliverance as my number 2 pick. Double bills. And finally, my final pairing, which would make another great double bill. 2 films that feature UFOs in a different way. So you've got your unidentified flying objects in Spielberg's Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and you've got underwater flying objects in James Cameron's The Abyss. Both excellent science fiction alien films where the aliens are actually pretty friendly. Not the usual kind of sci-fi film where the aliens want to wipe out the human race. These aliens want to make friends or rescuers. Close Encounters is a masterpiece. It still holds up today. The special effects are fantastic, as is The Abyss, the groundbreaking water tentacle, some great underwater scenes. It was such a hard project to make this film. A lot of the actors said it was torturous at times. So there you go. You've got James Cameron's The Abyss and Steven Spielberg's Close Encounters of the Third Kind. So tell me what you think of my picks down below in the comments. If you're not a subscriber and you want to see more content like this, give me a follow, subscribe on the button below, and I'll see you around for future videos. Thanks for watching. Make sure you give it a like, and if you've got any questions or want to share your top 5s, put them in the comments below. So thank you, take care, goodbye. It's a hot one tonight.